Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone. We will start shortly around 9:35. Thank you. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. First of all, I would like to thank our participants for joining our webinar this morning on the title of Technical Career Development for Electrical Engineer. Okay, so this webinar is live broadcasted using StreamYard through YouTube and also Facebook. This webinar is co-organized by the main organizer, IEEE Power and Energy Society Malaysia Chapter, and also co-organized by IEEE Young Professional Malaysia. Our speaker is Technologist Engineer Amar bin Alam Shah, and he will talk about technical career development for electrical engineer. Before I pass our session to our speaker, I would like to invite the chair of IEEE Power and Energy Society Malaysia Chapter, Prof. Hazli Mukhlis. Prof. Hazli will briefly introduce on the IEEE Power and Energy Society Malaysia Chapter. So with that, Prof. Hazli.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me, Atika?
Yes.
Atika, can you hear me?
Yes,
You
I
dengar
can
tak?
hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
alright, okay.
Alright.
Okay, can you see the slide? I'm sharing the slide. Can you see the
Okay.
slide?
Yes, I
Okay,
can
alright.
see it. Alright.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. First of all, thank you very much to Nur Atika for sharing, moderating this session, and special thanks to our speaker today, Engineer Amar, for willing to share his expertise, experience in this career development about electrical engineering. Alright, so a quick introduction. My name is Hazli Muklis. I am currently the chair of IEEE PES Malaysia. So I will give a little bit briefing about IEEE PES Malaysia. Yeah. So as you can see, IEEE, everybody, I'm sure that everybody know about IEEE association, which is international body in the world, and it has a lot of connection. Under the IEEE Act, and under the IEEE, there are a lot of society. So one of it is IEEE PES, which is Power and Energy Society. This is the second largest society under IEEE section. So there are a lot of benefit by joining the IEEE PES, especially in terms of the knowledge sharing, information. There are a lot of facilities in the as a IEEE PES member, like online tutorial, online set training, journals, talks. For example, this is talk organized by IEEE PES, and there are a lot of resources. For example, resources center iepes.org, videos, technical report, tutorial, journal activity. So it is very informative. As a member, you will have a lot of information, and especially in terms of networking. So IEEE PES is under the Region 10. Okay, you can see in the slide. There are 45 chapters. So Malaysia, one of the Region 10, together with Australia, China, Philippines, Japan, and others. So this is the IEEE PES Malaysia leadership. Yeah. So you can see that IEEE PES Malaysia started 1994. And then until now, and this is all the previous chair of IEEE. Some of them are from industry, and some of them from academician. So what we did, we have lectures, conference, awards, awards for outstanding engineer, but you need to be IEEE best member, where we give a few awards. And then we have the networking with industry, technical activities, FIP project awards, competition, reaching to members. And in fact, under IEEE also, there are a lot of research funding as well, especially on the humanitarian activities. Okay, so first of all, to be IEEE PES, you need to be IEEE member. For student, there is a discount for this year's 50%, so around only $30 for IEEE, and then you need to add on to be IEEE PES member. So I think that's all. And what you say, that I hope that everybody who is not a member yet, please come join us. Inshallah, there will be a lot of activities for next year. So thank you very much for listening to a briefing about IEEE PES. So this is the current committee member. Thank you. Thank you, Atika.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Hazli, for the brief
Okay.
introduction on IEEE PES Malaysia chapter. Okay, before we start with the talk from Engineer Amar, I would like to just inform you, if you have any questions regarding the topic discussed, you can just type your questions in the chat box in YouTube, and I will read the questions to the speaker afterwards. Okay, so let me introduce our speaker. Technologist Engineer Amar bin Alam Shah recently completed his master degree in Power System Engineering from University of Malaya. Currently, he is a resident engineer in Gas District Cooling Sdn Berhad since March 2020. Throughout his working experience since 2006, Engineer Amar has served many well-known companies such as Propel Berhad, Tenaga Nasional Berhad, and 3M Sendirian Berhad. Technologist Engineer Amar bin Alam Shah is a professional engineer with practicing certificate Board of Engineers Malaysia, BEM, and corporate member of Institute of Engineers Malaysia IEM. Insinyur Ahmad is also a registered electrical engineer Malaysia, 33 kilovolt electrical service engineer, and 132 kilovolt competent electrical engineer from the Energy Commission Malaysia. Okay, so with that introduction, I would like to call upon Technologist Insinyur Amar bin Alam Shah to give his talk on the technical career development for electrical engineer.
A very good morning. Today, I will deliver about technical career development for electrical engineers. So my name is Amar bin Alam Shah. Currently I'm working with Gas District Cooling Malaysia, Sdn Bhd. I'm also a competent engineer, service engineer, and also a registered electrical energy manager with Suruhanjaya Tenaga. Okay, this is my presentation content, my slide content. First of all, we will look into path from graduation to competent engineer, followed by professional engineer, competent engineer, opportunities, and last but not least will be a bonus slide for you. The bonus slide containing we'll see later. Okay. For part one, path from graduation to competent engineer. So my presentation will be divided into several phases in accordance with.
Sorry, Dr. Insinyur Amar, we cannot see a slide.
Oh, cannot see.
Yes.
Share screen.
Yes.
Can you see?
Okay, we can see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I restart again. So this is my slide content. First of all, I will start with path from graduation to competent engineer. Basically, this will be explaining about a path that you will undergo from end of your study until you get your competent engineer certificate, followed by second content, which is professional engineer. Third topic will be competent engineer, and the fourth topic will be opportunities for competent engineer and professional engineer, and last but not least will be a bonus slide that will be I will be explaining later. Okay, first topic, path from graduation to competent engineer. So my first topic will be divided into several phases in accordance with years started from graduation until competent engineer, until you get your competent engineer. Okay, this is the roadmap to obtain your competent engineer certificate. So it's quite lagging in the Facebook or in the YouTube. Okay, first of all, you need to complete your final exam in your final semester in your undergraduate study, which is you need to finish your bachelor degree in engineering. After that, you will graduated with scroll and your transcript, and then you will start your first work, your first day, and then after 1 year from graduation, third year post from you register with BEM as a graduate engineer, and also registered with you may also opt to register with Malaysia Board of Technology as a graduate technologist, because nowadays Malaysia Board of Technology is quite popular among engineering practitioner. They register with BEM as well as with MBOT. And then 5 years post graduation. And last but not least, this part will be covering recognized as a professional engineer and a competent engineer. So we will go to the first part, which is final exam in final semester. So after you completed your final exam in final semester, you should quickly register yourself and update your profile in LinkedIn, as well as in SPA portal. SPA stand for Suruhanjaya Perkhidmatan Awam portal. If you wish to become a government servant, and then you need also to register and update your resume in My Future Job in SOXO portal. SOXO stand for Perkeso, Perkeso SOXO, okay. And also you need to register and update your particular in Job Malaysia and Job Street. Okay. Then we go to phase 2. Phase 2 is your graduation day. Okay, during your graduation day, you will be receiving your scroll and transcript. Okay, after right after you receive your scroll and transcript, first of all you need to uh, go to the website of BEM and register yourself with BEM as a graduate engineer. It is very simple. You just click www.bem, B for bot, E for engineer, M for Malaysia, .org.my. This is a compulsory action you must take, because if you fail to register yourself with BM, you might be fined with 50,000 ringgit or imprisonment of not more than 1 year, or both, if you found guilty. Okay. And also you may want to register yourself with Malaysia Board of Technology as a graduate technologist. If you register yourself with MBOT, after 3 years, you have an opportunity to sit for professional interview to become a professional technologist, and you can use both your IR title and also your TS title before your name. For example, my name Ammar bin Alam Shah, and I am eligible to use title of IR and title of TS before my name. Okay. And then another one, number 3, this one is optional lah. If you want to become, if you want to be registered with IEM, please, because this one, usually people will register for IEM because they want to go for IEM logbook training scheme. This IEM logbook training scheme is catered for engineer who doesn't have professional engineer in their workplace to become their mentor. Okay, because one of the prerequisite requirement to sit for professional interview is you must have a mentor in your workplace that holding the title of professional engineer or title of IR. Okay. Okay, so number 3 is optional lah. Number 2 is heavily optional, but number 1 is mandatory. Okay. We move to phase number 3. Okay, phase number 3 is when you start your work. Okay, this one doesn't matter whether you start your work after your graduation day or you start your work right after you completed your final exam. So first of all, you need to find a way to sit for training to get your CIDB card. This one is very important because if you work in a company that serve to big client, for example, to Tenaga Nasional Berhad, to Telekom Malaysia, to Petronas, they require this kind of CIDB card for you to go into their premises to perform any engineering work. And on top of that, if you are interested to work in oil and gas field, you may want to sit you may want to undergo training for NTSP card. NTSP and stand for NIOSH, or this one if you want to work with tenaga inside Tenaga Nasional Berhad premises. So you must have your NTSP card, NIOSH TMB safety passport. And if you want to work inside oil and gas premises, you you must sit for OGSP training. Then they will give you, or they will issue you a OGSP card. These are the important document that you must have if you want to go further inside engineering industry. Okay, now we move to phase number 4, 1 year post graduation. So after a 1 year, you graduate from you after 1 year you obtain your degree scroll and transcript. You can apply and undergo training to sit for professional interview for registered electrical energy manager. The requirement is very simple. For degree holder in science and engineering, you must have minimum experience of 1 year, work under energy efficiency environment. And if you are, for fresh graduate, they do not have ample experience. And also, this one I'm talking about competent engineer. If you are competent engineer, you can have experience 6 months working in energy efficiency environment, so that you are eligible to sit for professional interview and examination to become a RIM. Okay, this RIM is fall under IEEE 2008. IEEE stand for Efficient Management of Electrical Energy Regulations 2008. Okay. Now we move to phase number 5. Phase number 5 is after 3 years you receive your scroll and transcript. Okay, after 3 years, you can apply to sit for professional engineer interview. This one, you can submit your application either through BEM or through IEM or through MySat. So you have 3 channels to apply to sit for professional interview to become a professional engineer. And then on top of that, if you want to get your TS title, TS stand for technologies or professional technologies, you can apply through MBOT portal to sit for professional interview for professional technologies. So don't get confused. PE issued by BEM, while PTech or TS issued by MBOT. It is 2 different entity. Okay, now after you receive your after you obtain your PE title, your professional engineer title for electrical engineer and electronic, you may want to apply to sit for examination and professional interview to become a competent electrical engineer. This competent electrical engineer is regulated under Suruhanjaya Tenaga Act and Regulation under Electricity Supply Act 1990 and Electricity Regulations 1994. So there are many benefits if you become a competent electrical engineer, but to get this certificate is quite quite difficult. All right. Now we reach to the final phase of electrical engineer career development, which is you will obtain both the IR certificate and also the CE certificate. As you can see here on the left would be the a certificate issued by Board of Engineers of Malaysia, while on the right of the screen will be a certificate issued by Suruhanjaya Tenaga. This one on the right is a competent electrical engineer certificate. Okay. Now we move to topic number 2, which is discussion on professional engineer. How you can obtain your professional engineer title. But this explanation is very brief. It's not about how to fill up the form, but it is I will be explaining about the route that you may want to take if you want to apply for professional engineer title. Okay, these are the requirement to apply for professional engineer title as per regulated under regulation 22 in bracket 1 under registration of engineers regulation uh, 1967, or we call it as a REA 1967, and the latest amendment was on 2015. Okay, so requirement number 1, to apply for PE, first of all, you must be registered with BM as a graduate engineer. That's why in the first year, after you receive your scroll and transcript, I would strongly suggest that you need to register yourself with BM as a graduate engineer, because 3 years after registration with BM as a graduate engineer, you can apply to sit for PE. If not meeting the 3 years period, then you are not eligible to apply for PE. Even though you already submitted your application to BM, they will reject your application because the numbers of years is not sufficient. Okay. Okay. The requirement number 2 will be 3 years working experience. All right. Requirement number 3, 1 year from the 3 years working experience the candidate must be working under supervision of professional engineer or under supervision of IR in Malaysia. The IR must be similar field with the candidate. For example, if the candidate in electrical field, then the IR also must be in electrical field. If the candidate is in electronic field, the IR may be in field of electrical or electronic, because electronic is a subset of field of electrical. And requirement number 4 is 1 year from the 3 years working, from the point number 2, 1 year must the candidate must working in technical and management role. Technical means the role must be for example engineer, project engineer, operation and maintenance engineer, and so on. And management roles is referring to the starting engineer and above, means technician would not be counted. All right. Okay, this is the professional engineer journey as a summary. Okay, first of all, you need to complete your study in engineering degree, and then after you receive your scroll in convocation day, you must register yourself with BM as a graduate engineer. And then after 3 years, you can apply to sit for professional engineer examination and interview. And after you pass your interview, then only you can be registered with BM as a professional engineer or IR. Okay. The note down there, professional assessment examination, or we call it as a PAE, will be conducted by BM, and you have another one option to sit for professional interview, which is enhanced professional interview, or we call it as a EPI. This EPI will be conducted by IEM. So now you have two options to sit for professional interview to become a professional engineer. Okay, this one is a portal www.engineer.org.my. It's a portal that you can log in once you be registered as a graduate engineer. So before you be registered as a graduate engineer, you cannot access this portal. But once you already registered as a graduate engineer, you can access this portal, and you can fill up the details of yourself. And I think now they already have a function for you to apply online to sit for professional interview. Before this, a candidate that want to sit for professional interview, they need to submit application by hard copy. I think nowadays they can submit through online, through this portal. Maybe after this, those who already registered with BEM as a GE can access this portal and find a way, or maybe find a button that will bring you uh, to apply to sit for professional interview. Okay, these are the document that must be prepared by an applicant to apply to sit for professional interview. On the left, we have Form G. This Form G is a form to be filled by applicant, and then this form comprises of um, years of experience of the applicant. So you must fill up this form very comprehensively, and then detail out everything that you covered during the 3 years experience before you sit for professional assessment examination. And then followed number 2 is a form I. This form I is a declaration form for the applicant to declare about the document prepared by the applicant. For example, the document of drawings, calculations, BQs, and so on. So the applicant must declare all the documents being prepared by the applicant by their self, not by others, not by copying and so on. Okay. Document number 3 is a training and experience report. Basically, this training and experience report for PAE, not for EPI, for PAE, is a report containing detail about experience of the applicant or candidate. This is more or less like a resume that you submit to potential employer for job application, but this one is more comprehensive. Okay, and the most right is a technical report. Okay, this technical report uh, discussing uh, a project carried out by the applicant or candidate during the training session, during the 3 years training session, from register as a GE until the application been made. So this technical report, for example, you already um, did a postmortem on a power cable. So this report will be discussing about the postmortem, or maybe you did something like a project. So this report will be discussing about the project. So the project must be detailed out in this report. Okay, this is the professional interview structure conducted by PAE. The structure of professional interview will be divided into 3 sections. The first one on the left will be oral examination. This oral examination will be conducted by 2 interviewers. The examiner will question the candidate based on the experience, and also based on the technical report submitted by the candidate. Therefore, the technical report, as per previous slide, must be prepared solely by the applicant or candidate. Because if you copy, or maybe you change the name in the front cover, then you do not understand at all about the content of the report. you are done. All right. Okay. And the second element will be SAA. So the examiner will prepare two questions, and from the two question, candidate will choose one question, which means um, examiner will prepare two question, and then the candidate will choose one question from out of two question. Okay, and then after that, from the question, the candidate will prepare an essay in 1.5 hour based on the question selected by the candidate. Okay. Now we have element number three, which is SAB. This SAB will be based on the 8 questions outlined by BM. This 8 question uh, is not surprise question because it's already inside the BM portal. I will show later. I will show in the next slide. Okay, same like previous one, the SAA. This SAB examiner will choose 2 question out of 8 question, and candidate will choose 1 question out of 2 question that's chose by the examiner. And then this question will be based on the code of conduct of registered person. This document also available online in BM portal. Okay. The essay writing will be last for 1.5 hour. You cannot bring anything except your pen and also calculator. Other than that, it's prohibited. Uh, you cannot bring your handphone, you cannot bring your laptop, cannot bring any printed material, you cannot bring a calculator that can print out a receipt and so on. So you can only bring your pen and calculator. Okay, these are the question for PAE, Professional Assessment Examination conducted by BEM. We have 8 questions here. Question number 1 about the duty of the engineer. Number 2, consulting engineer. Number 3, conflict between resident engineer and contractor. Number 4, about the professional integrity. Number 5, about reputation of profession. Question number 6, about whether the professional engineer can practice as a consultant and contractor in the same project. Question number 7, about uh, cannot subcontract the consulting engineer to other consulting engineer without um, knowing head and tail about the project. And question number 8, about the consulting engineer submitted structural design plan to local authority. Okay, this question also available online. You can browse BEM portal and find for this question. Okay, now we move to topic number 3, which is a competent engineer. This okay. The requirement for competent electrical engineer uh, Malaysian citizen. The applicant must be a Malaysian citizen. Okay. Now currently they open only for Malaysian citizen lah. It's not open for non-Malaysian citizen. Okay. And you must have a bachelor degree in electrical and electronic engineering or electronic engineering. Okay, you also must become a professional engineer. So as you can see here, professional engineer or IR title is a prerequisite for you to become a competent engineer. Without IR, you cannot be a competent electrical engineer, or without IR, you cannot apply and sit the professional interview to become competent electrical engineer. And then bullet number 2 on the right, the applicant must have a wide experience in operational of electrical installation. What the 5 or 8 years means. Okay, The 5 years is for the electrical engineering. The 5 years is referring to the bachelor degree holder in electrical engineering, and the 8 years is meant for bachelor degree in electronic engineering holder. Means if you are electrical engineer, you need only 5 years of experience handling electrical equipment. Usually we referring to the high voltage electrical equipment lah. For example, high voltage is 11 kV and above. The low voltage now referring to 230 volt or 400 volt three phase. High voltage is more than that. It's 1 kV considered as a high voltage. Okay. While for electronic engineer or registered with BM as a electronic discipline, you must have 8 years of total experience in doing switching for high voltage apparatus. Up to 8 years, you must have 8 years of experience. So this is the difference between you are having electrical degree or electronic degree. Okay. On top of that, you must have a knowledge in modern electrical engineering and also knowledge in legislation. Legislation is referring to the Electricity Supply Act 1990, Electricity Regulations 1994, Suruhanjaya Tenaga Act 2001, Efficient Management of Electrical Energy Regulation 2008, and so on. These are the regulation, and also you must know about IEC standard, British standard that related to Malaysia practice. And on top of that, also you must have a knowledge in CPR and knowledge in underground power cable. Okay, this is the website that you can access to apply to sit for competent electrical engineer. First of all, you need to register yourself with the portal by clicking at the down left. You must click new user, and then the portal will redirect you to a new user that you can key in all your particulars, and after that only you can log in and apply to sit for competent electrical engineer professional interview. Okay, this slide explaining about the voltage level that you have for competent electrical engineer. Previously, there were only 6 level of voltage for competent engineer classification. That was 11 kV, 33 kV, 132 kV, 275 kV, and 500 kV. And recently, they added another 2 category, which are LV, and also for university. Previously, there was only JK1 until JK6. Now they have JK0 referring to LV. This one on the left, JK0 referring to LV, and JK7 referring to university. Okay, because in university, for example, in UTM, in UTEM, they have a high voltage laboratory. So this high voltage laboratory, they require a competent electrical engineer to be registered with the high voltage laboratory, so that the apparatus inside the high voltage laboratory can be operated by the competent engineer lah. Okay. Okay, this is the flowchart of computer electrical engineer examination. This flowchart I got from Suruhanjaya Tenaga. That's why the content of the flowchart still in bahasa. But as you can see here, If you want to apply to sit for computer electrical engineer, first of all, you must have 5 years of experience working in minimum here in 11 kV apparatus lah. And then after that, you can upgrade yourself up to 500 kV by stages. Starting from, you upgrade from 11 kV to 33 kV, and then followed by 132 kV to 75 kV, and last but not least, 500 kV. You may also want to apply starting from 33 kV, provided that electrical installation in your workplace cater up to 33 kV. This 132 kV usually referring to the customer, referring to the power plant, or to IPP, or referring to utility, which is TMB or SESB. So worker from TMB, they can directly apply to sit for 132 kV CE, Computer Electrical Engineer. Okay, this is the syllabus of Computer Electrical Engineer examination. As I said earlier in last two slides, the applicant must know about Electricity Supply Act 1990, Energy Commission Act 2001, Electricity Regulation 1994, EMER 2008, IEC, Malaysia Standard, and General Electrical Engineering, Safety Regulation, First Aid, and Modern Electrical Engineering and its application. And also, on top of that, you must know about basic knowledge, technical safety characteristic, operational and maintenance, short circuit capacity, safety clearance, and etc. Okay, what do you mean by operational and maintenance? Operational and maintenance referring to the operational of circuit breaker. This circuit breaker rated 11 kV um, need a special way to handle it. You must wear a protective gear. We call it as a arc flash suit for you to do a switching and to do a rag in and rag out of the breaker, because during the rag in and rag out of the breaker, there is a potential of uh, arc flash happening in case of failure of the component of the breaker. Therefore, this kind of operational and maintenance skill must be obtained during the 5 years working experience as per required by Suruhanjaya Tenaga for you to sit for professional interview to become a competent electrical engineer. Okay, this is the structure of professional interview for competent electrical engineer. First of all, you need to sit for training conducted by ILSAS. ILSAS stand for Institute Latihan Sultan Ahmad Shah. Basically, ILSAS is a subsidiary of Tenaga Nasional Berhad. This ILSAS is located inside Unit 10. If you know Unit 10, then you should know how to go to ILSAS. Okay. After you sit for the training, the technical training, you must prepare a report writing and submit to Suruhanjaya Tenaga upon required by Suruhanjaya Tenaga. And then after Suruhanjaya Tenaga satisfied with your report, they will call you to sit for written examination and oral examination. Written examination and oral examination will be conducted both on the same day and on the same session. But the written examination will be conducted earlier than oral examination. Okay. Okay, now we go to the fourth topic of this presentation, which is about the opportunity for professional engineer and competent electrical engineer. Okay, for professional engineer, but this one is referring to the professional engineer with practicing certificate. Okay, some additional info for you. Uh, Before 2015, there was only one category of professional engineer. But after amendment on the Registration of Engineer Act 1967 on 2015, they separated the professional engineer uh, type of registered person into two category. Category number one referring to PE, professional engineer, tier one, and tier two referring to professional engineer with practicing certificate. Uh, so this PEPC, professional engineer with practicing certificate, is eligible to establish a consultancy firm under um under Registration of Engineer Act 1967 amended on 2015. Before that, if you have a PE title, then you are eligible to open consultancy firm. But after 2015, you can only register your consultant firm with BEM if you have a PEPC to be registered with your consultancy firm. This PEPC have some kind of ratio. For example, if the director of the consultancy firm is only one, then the PEPC is required to hold 100% of the shareholder. If you have two, the PPC must hold, I think, about 70% of the shareholder inside the consultancy firm. Okay. Okay. The second opportunity for IR and computer engineer. You must have IR together with computer engineer is you can do electrical substation auditing and inspection. This kind of inspection is a opportunity to generate money. So it is a big money for you if you obtain a lot of contract. Then you can do inspection to many electrical substation. This inspection is bounded under electricity regulation 1994 under regulation 67 to 70, which spell out that all electrical installation started from 400 mLV until 33 kV must be visited by computer electrical engineer uh, in a frequency of twice a month, once a month, or four times a month. So this is a big money. Please go for computer engineer if you have time and effort. And if you are IR and computer engineer, this one imposed for PE and PEPC. Provided that if you are PE, you can do the endorsement for your company only. But if you are PEPC, you can do endorsement and submission to local authority. This is the difference between PE tier 1 and PEPC tier 2. Okay. And the final one is you can have a job promotion, a very fast promotion for IR and CE compared to a non-IR and CE. For example, if you are IR after you graduated, after you registered with BM as a GE, for example, after 3 years, you become maybe after 4 years lah, because the PAE take about 1 year to complete. Okay, after 4 years, you became IR, and then on the fifth year, you become a computer engineer. Then I think about uh, another 2 years, you can become a senior engineer or maybe manager compared to the non-IR or non-CE. This is the advantage if you have a title of IR and also the competent engineer's competency certificate. Okay, now we go to the bonus slide. So the bonus slide is discussing about other high impact competency certificate that not discussing earlier lah. Because before this we only discuss about IR, the professional engineer, and the competent engineer only, competent electrical engineer. Now we will be discussing about other competency certification that can give you more salary or more money. Okay, other high impact competency certification for electrical engineer. Number one, as you can see here, uh, this one, before this, I want to put competent electrical engineer. The range, the salary range is about starting from 10,000 ringgit until 30,000 ringgit. REM, Registered Electrical Energy Manager. This one you can obtain 1 year after graduation. So this REM, the salary range will be around 10k to 20k. Go down there, electrical service engineer, the salary range about 10k to 30k. Gas engineer under Suruhanjaya Tenaga, the salary range is about 10k to 20k. Thermographer, 10k to 20k. Gas engineer supervisor, 10k to 20k. This one SHO, SHO safety health officer or green book holder. You can get about 10k to 20k. Okay, I just want to share with you. Previously, I think 3 years back when I worked in construction industry, I work in contractor industry. I asked one SHO in Pantai Timur in East Coast. I asked him, Bang, uh, what is your salary they gave to you, your monthly salary? Then he said, oh, I obtain about 16k per month. So can you guess what he what he do every day? He just clock in and just sit and see other people working around, and then make sure that they all obey the safety at work site and so on. And then after 5 o'clock, he clock out and go back to home. So it's very very simple and very easy life, but yet he received a very high amount of salary on monthly basis. Okay, another certification that you can obtain is uh, steam engineer. This steam engineer bounded under Department of Occupational Safety and Health, or we call it in Malaysia as a DOSH. Steam engineer can give you 10k to 20k per month. As well as the ICE engineer. ICE engineer is not a coal engineer. This one is an internal combustion engine engineer. This one more related to engine lah. Okay. Okay, and then certified infrared thermographer, the salary range is 10k to 20k. So this kind of thermographer, uh, you can obtain it through training and evaluation. This training we have in Malaysia, we have LC, we have FLIR that conducted this kind of training. Okay, you can browse in website on how to sit for this kind of training. And then we have certified partial discharge competent. The salary range about 10k to 20k. Corona inspection, the UVI graphers or the corona thermographer, the salary range is about 10k to 20k. And last but not least is ISAC certified person. So this ISAC certified person, they have a lot of category lah. We have category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 11, if I'm not mistaken. So because this ISAC is required in oil and gas environment, so the salary is quite big. The salary range is about 10k to 50k. Okay, I think I have covered all. So now we already finished our session. Uh, I pass to moderator. I pass back this session to moderator.
Okay, on behalf of IEEE PES Malaysia and YP Malaysia, I would like to thank Technologies Engineer Amar bin Alam Shah for the very informative talk. I believe that all of us have understand on the technical career development for electrical engineer on the path from graduation to competent engineers and opportunities for professional engineer and competent engineer. Okay, so now I will proceed with the Q&A session. So I will read the questions from the chat box. Okay, so for the first question from Muhammad Afiq, he asked whether the underground power cable is something with cable calculation design. Okay, so any comment, Engineer Amar?
Okay, thank you for the question. I believe this question is referring to my slide about computer electrical engineer, if I'm not mistaken. So for underground power cable, you must know on what configuration you must lay for single for for three core and single core formation. And then you must know on how to do testing, how to do maintenance, and what kind of fault happen. And also you must know how to do a simple calculation on the loading of the cable if you want to do load transfer and so on. I think I answer your question.
Okay, thank you, IR Amar. Okay, next question is from IEEE PS Malaysia. How much it will cost to sit the exam?
Okay, it's a good question. Okay, for professional engineer, it costs about 600 to sit for the exam. 100 ringgit for processing fee and 500 ringgit for examination fee. The 100 ringgit is non-refundable, but for the 500 ringgit is refundable lah. If BM found out that you are not eligible to proceed for next stage. Okay, for the computer electrical engineer, upon submission of application, you need to pay RM 20 ringgit for processing fee, and after you pass the examination, you need to register yourself with Suruhanjaya Tenaga so that you can practice your certificate. That one, the fee of registration is 200 ringgit per year.
Okay. Okay. Any other question from the viewer? Okay. So Mahmud Muhammad said, "Thank you for the talk, Engineer Technologies Amar." Okay. From
You're
Dennis
welcome.
Sufyan, is it necessary to take a chargeman course?
Okay,
Any
thank
comment?
you, Danish. All right. In many cases, a lot of engineer they work closely with chargemen in workplace. So they become interested to become a chargeman because they saw chargeman doing hands-on things, doing switching, doing testing, doing maintenance, and so on. Okay, so from my point of view, you can take a chargeman certificate, not wrong at all. Okay, but as for engineer, I would urge you to take professional engineer, and after that followed by computer electrical engineer, because this one can give you a more view on electrical engineering as well as for your career development compared to you are taking chargeman. And from my opinion, maybe we can give judgment certificate to other people that do not have opportunity to take or to pursue study in degree level. Okay, yeah, I'm sure
All right.
I
Thank you,
answer
Engineer
your question.
Amar. Okay. Next question is from Shahir Aidil. Hi, can you explain in a more detail on the path to be a professional engineer when working in a company that doesn't have a professional engineer? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shakir. All right, as per my slide before, per my sharing before, I said that if you do not have any professional engineer working in the same workplace with you, you may it's not may lah. You must register yourself with IEM, and then register yourself to do IEM logbook training scheme. So through IEM logbook training scheme, you will be getting a 3 years working experience working under a professional engineer in other place. Means if you are working with company A, then you need to appoint a professional engineer. Maybe in company B or in company C. Then this professional engineer in company B or in company C will supervise you by uh, checking your report 3 months once and once a year, and then they will do work site visit once in every 3 years. I think I answer your question.
All right, thank you, IR Amar. Okay, so next from Semi 30, can foreigners sit for the exam?
Sorry, come again. Can foreigners sit for the
Can
exam?
foreigners sit for the exam? Yes.
Okay, for professional engineer, the foreigner can sit
Mm-hmm.
for exam if you are registered with BM as a graduate engineer. I think this one you need to go to BM portal and see the requirement to apply for graduate engineer. Otherwise, it is a prerequisite to sit for professional interview or professional engineer interview, that you must have a GE certificate or GE registration with BM. Uh, but for competent engineer, I think for time being, they only open the requirement to they only open the application to Malaysian citizen only.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Ayah Amar. Okay, so next question is from Shahrani Abdurrahim. Okay, what is your advice to young engineer who don't have opportunity yet to involve in technical works? Some of young engineers are being positioned at office to do management and office works. Okay, so any comment, IR Amar?
Thank you, Dr. Sharani. Okay. To answer this question, previously when I started work in TMB, I was a commercial engineer, or during that time they call me as a tugas khas engineer, which means my work doesn't related at all with technical. So I took my initiative, my own initiative to go to site and then get exposure on technical aspect and so on. And also I attach myself with chargeman to do switching, and then to learn how to do maintenance and so on. So my advice to young engineer is please get your hand dirty by doing uh, a hands-on job. So this is my advice to them lah. So don't use an excuse that you are working in office and so on, because engineer is some sort of like related to hands-on things. I think I answered your question, Dr.
Okay.
Sharani.
All right, Engineer Amar. Okay, so next from Fakrullah Samarin. For fresh graduate, which or what type of company can we apply to pursue as a competent electrical engineer?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fakrul. Okay, my advice is you can apply to work with utility company. Okay, if you cannot work with utility company, you can opt to work with IPP company. IPP stand for Independent Power Producer, or you can work with contractor. Uh, Other than that, I think you can work with construction company like MRT that currently active. Their project is currently active, and you can work with utility with other transportation company like Rapid and so on.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the next question is from Okta channel. Okay, morning, engineer. Briefly explain how to pursue thermal competency.
Okay,
Okay,
good
so that is
morning,
the
Mr.
question.
Okta. All right. Just now in my slide, I did discuss about the registered electrical energy manager. So this kind of competency certificate, after 1 year of your graduation, you can apply through website www.ecos.st.gov.my. This slide I already flashed just now. So by login into the site, you can click for new application and then find application to sit for registered electrical energy manager, and then fill up your personal details and click submit. This is the way that you can apply for RIM lah. Another way is that you can undergo training conducted by my school or by Green Tech. This kind of training, they will teach you on how to do uh, energy efficient things lah. Okay. For my score, in the end of the training, because the training will be consumed about 5 days. In the end of the training on Friday, they will conduct interview and presentation session with Suruhanjaya Tenaga. If you are lucky, you pass that interview, then you will be awarded with RIM certificate lah. If you fail, you have opportunity to repeat that interview session. Yeah.
All right, okay. Okay, so we go to the next question from Karanjit Dilon. Are the professional engineer assessments and interview focused on a specific skill set? For example, as backup power system engineering, power system protection, and etc., based on our technical report, or will it usually be general?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Karamjit Dilon. Okay, for PE professional interview session, they will focus on your training and experience report and also your technical report, as well as uh, something related to the technical report. For example, your technical report is about upgrading transformer. Okay, upgrading transformer is related to you need to do a load calculation for LV, load calculation for LV, and then sizing up the transformer, and then sizing up the switch gear, and then calculation for protection relay, and then the question that will be asked that related to the increased transformer capacity is that maybe they will ask about the protection scheme of the upstream, which means before coming to the consumer. Maybe they will ask also about the room of the electrical substation. Maybe they will ask about what kind of grounding you do. Even though the grounding not discussed in detail in your report, but they will ask a bit about the grounding. They will ask maybe the question will be around about what is the allowable resistance value for the substation. This is a simple question, yet you must know the value, the common answer for that question lah. I think I answered the question, Mr. Karamjit Dilon.
Okay, all right. We go to the next question from Maggie M. Paul. Okay, good morning, engineer. May you explain more about how to apply for RIM? And do we need to work with a company that have a RIM?
Okay, thank you, Miss Maggie M. Pau. Okay, like before, like previous my previous explanation, I already explained that about how to apply for RIM. Okay, I answer your another question. whether you need to work with RIM company, the answer is not necessary. You may work with other company that practicing energy efficient initiative. For example, you are working with cement plant. Okay, in the cement plant, they already imposed by Suruhanjaya Tenaga to appoint one RIM because their monthly usage already exceeded 3 million kilowatt hour within 6 months. So if you have RIM in your workplace, then you have opportunity to learn from this RIM, and then after that you can sit for training to sit for RIM professional interview.
Okay, all right. Thank you, IR Amar. I think that is the last question. Okay. So that's all for Q&A session. As I can see, there are lots of questions. That means this topic is very, very interesting. Yes, IR Amar. Okay, so once again, I would like to thank IR Amar for answering all the questions from the participants. So now we have come to the end of our program today. Thank you for all participants who joined us in this webinar. So I hope that all of you can continue to support IEEE PES Malaysia and also YP Malaysia in our future events. Okay, so with that, I end this webinar program today. Thank you a lot, Engineer Amma, and to all participants. With that, stay safe everyone, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.